Hey travelers, Chris and I are currently slow traveling through Southeast Asia, and right now we're spending some time in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
Kuala Lumpur is often called out as being a city with affordable luxuries. We've rented an apartment here so we can spend time exploring this vibrant city without feeling rushed.
While we're here, in addition to exploring, we're working on our projects and just living our daily lives. This video is all about the cost of living that we noticed as slow travelers, starting with food,
Accommodations, transportation, healthcare, and products for daily living like clothing and electronics. Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia has a population of just over 2 million people. It has a climate that's hot and humid, and the weather seems to move between rainy and sunny on almost a daily basis.
But what are the prices like? And how affordable is it if you're spending time here as a slow traveler or digital nomad? Let's look at the cost of living across 5 different categories, including renting an apartment,
Eating out and buying groceries, public transportation and ride-hailing, healthcare, and daily living products.
Let's start with rent. Like in any city, the price you're going to pay really depends on the age and location of the building and the size of the apartment.
A one-bedroom apartment near the center of Kuala Lumpur under a longer-term lease will run about 2,200 ringgits per month with utilities. But again, that can vary quite a bit depending on amenities and apartment style.
And as a slow traveler or digital nomad, getting those kinds of prices might not be easy. Chris and I don't stay in cities long enough to sign a long-term lease, and so we often rely on booking platforms to help us find furnished rentals.
So for us as slow travelers, we're paying close to $1,300 per month for the convenience of a furnished apartment with no long-term lease. And everything is included like internet and weekly cleanings. Our current rental also has Netflix, which is a nice perk as Chris and I don't subscribe to streaming services to save money. And the building comes with a gym and pool too, so we don't need to spend extra money on a gym membership here. And if you do feel like doing an outdoor workout, you can check out KLCC Park.
The park is a great spot just to come and relax or to go for a run on the soft track.
It's also a beautiful park to just walk around, explore, and look up and admire the famous Petronas Twin Towers. Or you can climb the 273 steps at Batu Caves, which is also free to visit. But more about this and other amazing places to check out in Kuala Lumpur in our next video, so don't forget to subscribe.
Now let's talk about grocery store prices here in Kuala Lumpur. We found that the giant grocery store chain is one of the cheapest ways to get food.
Here we get passion fruit for 3 ringgits, a jar of peanut butter on special for 14 ringgits, a loaf of bread for just under 5 ringgits, and 13 ringgits for 30 eggs, which works out to about 5 ringgits a dozen. Overall, we found ourselves spending less than $70 per week on groceries, though we ate out a lot too. How could we not with all this amazing food around us? Like this cool bamboo nasi lemak with chicken served on a banana leaf from Oh Yeah Banana Leaf that cost 15 ringgits.
All right, I'm going to try a little chicken. Oh, it's so tasty. This is a good restaurant.
Overall, we found that eating out cost us about 40 or 50 ringgits for the 2 of us at a nicer restaurant. And cheaper street food could be as little as 5 ringgits.
Now let's talk about transportation and how we got around Kuala Lumpur.
Kuala Lumpur has several different types of public transit systems, including the monorail, light rail, and buses. Each one takes payments slightly differently. Some are cash only and others are credit cards, so it's best to have both ready. You can also get a tap-and-go card, which is required if you want to take a bus. Most of our trips cost less than 2 or 3 ringgits each, so it's definitely a cost-effective way to get around the city.
It worked.
Grab, which is a prominent ride-hailing app here in Southeast Asia, makes it really easy to get around if you don't feel like walking or taking public transit.
A 10-minute Grab ride would usually cost us around 8 or 10 ringgits, though prices are higher during rush hour and later in the day. On to daily living costs for things like electronics and clothing.
One thing that's really cool here is all of these electronic stands that you can find in all of the malls. Can't find this in downtown Vancouver, and you can find pretty much everything that you'd find on Temu and stuff like that here.
If you do find yourself needing a new phone while you're here, the basic iPhone 16 starts at about 4,000 ringgits. Clothing prices, like everywhere in the world, vary quite a bit. If you're shopping at a market or a basic store, you can get clothing items starting around 10 or 20 ringgits. But higher end stores are also very popular here.
I don't know why people are waiting in line here at Louis Vuitton. You can go to Chinatown and get the same bags for a lot cheaper without a line.
I did check out the Lululemon store in Kuala Lumpur and noticed their prices were about 40 or 50% higher than they are in my home base of Vancouver, Canada. Kuala Lumpur also has some cool shopping experiences, like this one in Chinatown.
This is probably one of the coolest spaces I've ever been in. Every level has something new to discover, and the building just keeps going up and up with even more levels than I ever thought.
It starts on the first floor with food options, then the second floor brings us to this market. I really love this top. And then the upper floors bring you to this elaborate bookstore with lots of nooks and different levels to discover.
If you want, you can buy lots of daily living products at very fair prices here. But there's also lots of higher end goods available too. Now, let's talk about healthcare.
There are lots of clinics and hospitals here offering a wide range of health services.
Depending on the country that you're from and your health insurance options, you might find the pricing here to be very reasonable.
We went to one of the clinics to get a vaccine for our upcoming rural adventures.
We're here at the Burkett Central Clinic about to get our rabies vaccines. We were going to get our rabies vaccines back in Vancouver, but they were out of stock. And it seems to be a lot cheaper here as well.
So let's get our rabies vaccine, which involves the doctor mixing together different vials of powders and solutions and administering the needle.
Do you feel that?
No? Like, I mean, there.
Our clinic experience was excellent. Everything was well organized, and the doctor explained what we needed to know about the vaccine and even followed up with us on WhatsApp after our visit. Each dose of the rabies vaccine cost 180 ringgits, which is a fraction of the cost we would have paid for it in Canada.
Between rent, grocery store food, eating out, and buying a few things to support our slow travel lifestyle, Chris and I spent about $1,800 in a month here in Kuala Lumpur. If you want to know more about why we chose our slow travel lifestyle, check out this video. We hope you're doing well, and we will see you in the next one.